Okay, so Ukraine just took over territory using only drones, and no one's really talking about it, so let's get into it.
It's an extraordinary claim by the Ukrainian leader. For the first time since the war began, Volodymyr Zelensky says Ukrainian forces were able to retake territory seized by the Russians using only an army of robots.
Okay, like on one hand, this is really exciting news, and on the other hand, this is a very scary thing because we're getting very close to Skynet right now. Unmanned drones going out there doing missions. I believe the plan right now, in Ukraine at least, is that they have like multiple different systems. They have air, land, ground, sea. Basically, they have any type of warfare. They have a drone for it now, and that's what they're going to be pushing out into the world. And this is, I guess this is going to be Ukraine's new industry, you know, making militarized drones for the world. They have all kinds, as you can see here. They have like Humvees, they got tanks, they got them all, right? Don't get me wrong, there's an exciting part of this technology that's very exciting, where you're taking the risk of casualties, man loss out of warfare, but at the same time, since you're taking that risk out of warfare, it feels to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that because you're taking that risk out, right? A lot of times the politicians, presidents, whoever, right? They weigh the loss of life to warfare and they go, oh, is it worth it? But if you take the loss of life out, then you're gonna be like, you know what? Let's just send some robots over there. Let's send some drones over there. Let's see what happens, And it's just gonna keep escalating. Let's take a look at some footage of the Russian soldiers surrendering to the drone. Like, it's pretty I don't know, it's pretty interesting to me.
In January, defense manufacturer DevDroid posted this video saying it showed a ground robot equipped with artificial intelligence taking 3 Russian soldiers captive. The Ukrainian battalion posting this similar video, which appears to be from the same incident.
Oh, this is really messing up like the typical Russian warfare game plan, where they kind of just throw soldiers into the meat grinder, right? That's been their game plan for every single war since the beginning of time. Like, I don't know, you guys pay attention in like history class or not, but what I always remember about Russian warfare is that during like World War II, they didn't have enough guns for every soldier, but they had a lot of men. They didn't have enough guns, so they would send waves of soldiers into warfare, right, into the battlefield. The first wave had guns and maybe 1 clip of ammo, and they'll just send them out, and then wherever those guys get knocked down, that's where they lay, that's where the gun is. The second wave, they didn't have anything, they just had clips of ammo, and so they'll just like give you a clip of ammo, right, and send you out, and your job was to go run, find a gun on the ground, pick it up, reload, and charge forward, and then you eventually get taken out, and then they'll send another wave to do the same thing, and they'll just keep on doing that. And now that they're kind of still doing that, where they're just kind of sending men out, but now that Ukraine's just like they have these drones that are just holding full-on fronts. I don't know if you guys have seen this footage. This is a while back now, of basically this one guy by himself, maybe with a small team of like repair guys in a little shed, and he's holding off a whole like front of the battlefield with these like drone tank turret things. And like, don't get me wrong, like the Russians are also moving in this direction as well. I saw this today. This is a Russian robotic self-loading motor system, which I have to say is pretty smart, because mortars are pretty cheap, right, and effective weapons. And normally they rely on like a team, like a 2-man, 3-man team, and someone has to calculate where this thing is going quickly, and then another person has to load it up, and it shoots out. Well, with this, it can calculate by itself and load and shoot, and you're gonna get more efficient, more accurate shots. I would say it's pretty smart, right? It seems to me that, where modern warfare is going right now is more like battle bots, right? Oh my gosh, battle bots. When I was a kid, I loved battle bots. It was one of my favorite shows. It combined like elements of being a nerdy kid with like competitive battle. Like it was such a great show. But that seems like that's where we're heading now. I could totally see like them making anti drones. I mean, they're already starting to do that already. Have you seen like the footage of like there's anti drones now to go combat the other flying drones? It's getting out of hand. But I could totally see in the future they make like little tiny, just if you remember BattleBots, one of the most effective ones was the one where it just has a scooper and it just went under the other bot and just flipped it over. I can totally imagine in the future, right, that someone deploys one of these turret tank drones, and then someone just makes a little flat sheet one, and it just speeds along and just gets underneath it and just flips it over. Like that seems like that's where we're going to be heading, because that's going to be next, right? Once people start making more and more of these unmanned drones, people are going to start making, because right now these things are meant to fight the technology of the past, right? Tanks, infantry, just like warfare, how it used to be fought. Once this catches on, they're going to start making anti-drone drones. And that's just, we're going to get into full-on battle bots. And then if you fast forward that a little bit later, right, as you take more of the human loss element out of warfare, and you know how Congress and the government's really slow to catch up with everything. This is my prediction in the future, right? I feel like we're already heading that way. Eventually, the first company is obviously going to be Tesla, but big corporations are eventually going to have their own robot army. And let's say Tesla has a dispute with Microsoft, they just launch a little mini war, instead of going through the courts, to just like start hitting each other. Like, I feel like that's where we're heading. And Skynet is a possibility, as AI is growing, and it's like it's like insulating itself into the web, and you can't shut it down anymore once it becomes like all-knowing Skynet. What's stopping it from maybe taking over some of these systems? Like I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I just thought that this was a story that blew up this week, and with all the other crazy news that's going on, it's not getting covered as much. But it feels like you should take a look at it, especially as we're sending more and more troops into Iran. I know as I'm recording this, the ceasefires are going on right now, but that's going to change. And one thing that this Iran war conflict, whatever you want to call it, exposed is the US military, the way it's formed right now, is not equipped to fight the war of tomorrow. Like right now, just how expensive our systems are, it doesn't make any sense at all. You could tell that our military system was built for profit, to make like all kinds of money for the military, these Raytheons, the Boeings, the like all those different companies like that, where they just inflated the price. It's like the iPhone, right? Where they keep making new iPhones, but it's not that much different from the phone, the generation before. And now they're just not caught up with modern warfare. I mean, I was thinking, as I was making this video, I was thinking about like Pete Hegseth's, like earlier this year, I'm sorry, this is last year now, where they're rolling out new fitness standards, right? And like Pete's like big onto fitness and doing tons of pull-ups and push-ups and whatnot, just being overly like fit, which is a good thing, don't get me wrong. But as you see where warfare is going in the future, it seems like it's less of a necessity. Just just my thoughts. I don't know. You maybe think like, oh, being physically fit helps you mentally, which is I agree with. But posting like just like raw fitness videos means nothing when you got like guys surrendering to drones and there's literally nothing you can do about it.